Hey everybody, welcome back to the Real Estate Agent Advantage. My name is Lauren Cooper. Today I'm joined by Tyler Knox out in Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground.
What's
What's
going
going
on,
on?
guys? How are you? Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. So let's give everybody a little bit of a backstory. So a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago at this point, you reached out
Yep.
to me from a video on YouTube that you saw. Which video was it?
Oh man, it was the MOJO Tyler video. I was trying to do some research on, I was thinking about getting the dialer and came across one of your videos. I love everything about the video, and then from there, I was just clicking on the whole channel, just watching. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Awesome, awesome. Are you related to someone named David Knox?
David Knox, not that I know of.
So
Maybe down.
there's a real estate trainer, like an old school real estate trainer named David Knox. He speaks
Okay,
with I think he speaks with a Southern accent. But anyway, that's
shoot,
neither here nor there. So you
yeah.
called me and you asked me some questions about the Mojo Dialer. You wanted to start prospecting, right?
Yep, definitely wanted to.
And let's give us a little bit of a rundown on an update, a background on your history. So you're right now you're part time in real estate, right?
I'm part-time. I work a full-time job right now. Not forever, not for long, but I'm still part-time. I work from 7:30 in the morning, so 7 a.m. practically to 4 p.m. So just got off of work. But I'm still trying to hustle, trying to get it, trying to get the real estate thing going.
Absolutely. So what was the motivation to get into real estate in the first place?
Of course. So, graduating high school in 2019, actually not too long ago, but I knew I didn't want to go to college. At Originally, I wanted to be a welder, actually, and I
Ah,
was damn good at it. I had my X-ray certification. Turned out that when I had a real job doing it outside of trade school, wasn't what I wanted it. Wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's different when you get a real job doing it versus having your friends and buddies around in class. So turned out hated that. And one day I was just laying in bed or whatever, and I looked up jobs you can have without going to college, just straight on the internet. And I saw a real estate agent was one. So I do some more research. I actually go into a Keller Williams
oh,
and I sit down thinking that I was interviewing for a job. And I thought I was
what
going
it
to get the
feels like,
position.
right?
Yeah, I had my resume, like complete idiot, not knowing what you needed to, get into the game of being an agent.
I did the same thing. Don't feel
Yeah,
bad. I did the
yeah.
same 10 years ago.
Oh my God, it was just so funny. Looking back, I was like, man, I look like an idiot, but I was young. I didn't know. I really didn't know. And then she handed me, classes you can go locally, and I went in person before COVID. And just I failed 7 times on my license test. I failed 7 times, but every time I just when I want something, I'm just super aggressive. I just go after it. Like scheduling this call, I'm like, that's just a thing about me. People hate it sometimes, but I'm just super persistent. So
That's
eventually
good.
got the license. Yes, that's kind of how I got into it.
Excellent. And so you
So
walked into this Keller Williams, and I'm assuming you joined the Keller Williams because you're not a Keller anymore.
no, I'm with EXP just like you, but I actually never went back to that Keller Williams, even though it was down the street from me. I started, as I started, getting my license, my first brokerage was Long and Foster. I ended up going to Long and Foster, met someone that was going to represent me in purchasing my first home.
Okay.
But ended up, I joined Long and Foster and then left Long and Foster, went to Weichert for like 30 days and then left there. First, only thing I gained from there was what KV Core was, right? And then soon as I met an EXP agent, it was just I knew where I had to be.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So let's talk about, the whole how we got connected. So you saw this video, it was about the Mojo Dialer, and what is
Yep.
it that resonated with you in the video?
Man, I wanted to start getting listings. I pretty much not anymore, right? But most of my transactions been on the buyer side, which I don't have a problem with. If it's actually more fulfilling to me to represent a buyer, when someone buys their first home, it's like nothing else. It's you walking them from A to Z. It's just one of the best feelings, especially when it's like one of your friends or family members, right? It's amazing. But it gets to the point, especially, in a market like we're having that's starting to transition, but, in the market where it's a seller's market, you're running around with buyers left and right, wasting a lot of your time, right? it gets to a point where it's like, man, I really want to be on the other side of this. I want to have listings, and I don't know too many homeowners, and I need to get in touch with them. So how am I going to do it? Started looking up the MOJO dialer. I know I need to dial the phones, come across your video. We talk. I buy, I bought the dialer. Now I have 2 listings. One is pending, and it's great to be on the other side.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing. So we connected because I tell people all the time, reach out to me, talk to me, and
Yeah.
people do every week. And a lot of people don't believe that I'll call them.
Right.
We got connected pretty darn quickly, right?
Exactly. And I was super pumped when you hit me back up too. I was like, okay, here we go. So
So what was it that got you started? Once we got off the phone and we talked a little strategy and
yeah,
that what worked for you?
it was knowing just like you have to take action, but it's not just one day of action. You have to stay consistent. I wrote down a schedule for myself.
Excellent.
Obviously I'm not doing it today, but I'm doing the Zoom here, but I made a schedule. I just had to hold myself accountable. If I want to have results, if I want to do good, and if I want to get listings, I have to hold myself accountable.
That's right.
So I stuck to it, and literally in the first week, I had 2 listings signed. Granted, I had help with an experienced agent that's on my team, but I put in the work to get those appointments, right? So, and that's what matters. That's what it's all about. We're not on the phone just to talk to people. We're here to set appointments, right?
Right.
And that's what I did.
So who were you calling? What type of prospect were you calling? Were you cold
Yep.
calling, like circle dialing? Were you calling
Yep.
expireds and FSBOs? What were you doing?
At first, my team lead had a listing or has a listing in a certain development, like an HOA, like a community, right? So the first thing he told me to do once I told him that I had the dialer was, why don't you just call around the neighborhood where I had the listing? Because he sold it. He sold this listing for the highest in the neighborhood. We're not calling if asking to list their home. So the first thing I did with the triple line dialer was spreading the good news. Hey, look, this is who I am. Our team just got the highest price in the neighborhood. That was the first strategy I did. No bites though, right? But then I went to an expired listings, wasn't really getting any luck. For the most part on expireds, what I feel like I get is like, hey, look, we already sold, right? I get those a lot. So, the people that want to sell now that I know have it on the market or for sale by owners, they're the hottest. In my opinion, they're like the hottest leads, right? If you're hitting the phone. And that's how I got my first, 2 listings. Was
So
the for sale
talk
by
me
owner.
through the conversation, because a lot of people fear for sale by owners. I've had, I have experience with for sale by owners as well. But when I was just getting started, you would hear the same thing over and over again. I'm not using an agent, I'm doing it myself. So I mean,
Yeah,
what were the conversations like with them? What kind of script did you use, and what was the
exactly.
response?
Exactly. So like right here, I don't follow a script 100%, right? But I do have one next to me if I do trip up, right? Like it's kind of like a guide for me here.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a for sale by owner script, and it works great for me. And I don't go through it. I don't even go through every question, right? I'm not talking about I or me. I'm asking questions. The best salesperson, no one wants to be sold on anything.
Oh,
But
you don't
what
have
I
to send
do
it
is,
to me now. Don't worry. Send it to me later, and
okay. So what I do is I ask them, I go like this, hey, John, right? I just say, hey, John.
Yeah.
I don't say, hello, is this John, or is this the owner of 123 Main Street? I don't do that. I say, hey, John. He goes, who's this? I say, hey, look, this is Tyler, EXP Realty. How you doing? And I kind of match their tone, right? So once they answer, if they're like, hello, I'm like, I kind of get, hey, hello, this is Tyler, right? I kind of match it because it brings familiarity into their head,
Right.
right? If they're like, hello, and I'm like, hey, Tyler here, like they're going to be like, well, this guy, who the heck is this guy, right?
Right.
So then hey, John, then they answer. And I say, hey, look, this is Tyler, EXP Realty. How you doing today? And then I said, I'm calling. I see your house is for sale, but you're trying to sell it by yourself, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, what's the motivation? You moving to Florida? I say something like that, right? Just to kind of like make it kind of funny or whatever. I say, hey, you moving to Florida? Where are you going? And they're like, oh, no, I'm doing this, doing that, whatever it is. I don't care, right? I'm just trying to figure out get them talk about why they're trying to sell, right? Now they're telling me why they want to sell. And I'm like, how soon do you have to be there? And I'm like, okay, so you got it on Facebook, Marketplace, Craigslist, probably Zillow, Trulia, stuff like that. Then I get into it, like the nitty gritty. I'm like, look, you got buyers that, these buyers are represented. They have buyer contracts with other agents, right? I mean, you're not represented by a professional like myself. Are you ready to handle these negotiations, right? And then I just start getting into it, and they're like, well, my buddy's a lawyer or something, so my paperwork's in order, and and then we just start getting into it, right? It's just a conversation at that point. I'm really not even looking at the script, right?
Right.
But what I found out was towards the end of the phone call, and now we're having a good conversation. I'm like, look, I want you to possibly, I want the opportunity to, possibly list your home, but when's a good time for me to come over? How's Friday, this Friday at 5 o'clock or after work, or you want to do a Saturday, maybe like 12 o'clock? What's good for you? I never give them one. You always give them two options. Let them pick instead of just saying no. If they're like, Ty, I'll let you know. I don't like having that. I don't like taking no for an answer, which that's a no to me. I say this. Usually I would just hang up and say, okay, let me know. I'll shoot you my contact info, right? They're never going to hit me back up. This is what I do. Okay, John, if you were to be available, when would that be? And then they're like, well, so that's like a little tactic I use.
It gets past the initial no. It's like when you walk through a store, can I help you? No, it's that automatic reaction, right?
Exactly. So yeah.
So that was it. So then you showed up at the door. And how did it go? Because people get nervous. They're like, well, am I just walking through? Am I touring? Am I giving a listing presentation? What are they expecting? So how did that flow?
I definitely always leave them with something. So I show up, I don't even have like a whole, most people, they bring like, 100-page things. Like I like to kind of keep it simple. There's a little bit about who I am, right? There's a little bit about how we're going to market the property, right? Stuff like that, the normal stuff. But I'm bringing a BFI, a buyer's financial information sheet. They might not even know that exists for sale by owner. They might know what a seller's
like a net sheet.
No, a buyer's financial information sheet. It's who the buyer is financially, like their assets, how much they make a year. But why does the seller need that? They ask me, what's this? Why do I need the buyer's, paperwork? I'm like, most times why if you have it for sale by owner, if you do get a buyer, it's not that you didn't sell it and you found a buyer. That's not the part. The part is because you've picked the wrong buyer. You pick someone that's not eligible, even qualified to buy your home.
Right.
So don't you want to know what their assets are, how much their income is? I leave them with the BFI. I leave them with a seller's disclosure. By law, you need to disclose this information prior to even having an agreement of sale. Like I'm just giving them all this information, showing them that I'm leaving them with these paperwork too, right? Lead-based paint, stuff like that. But before I leave them with all the information, like your question, I show up, I greet them. I put my stuff I put my paperwork on the kitchen table, wherever like a nice open area is where we're gonna kind of head back to. Take a look at the property. They're going on about how their house is the best in the world, all the upgrades they did, right? I'm like, smiling, having a good time. Oh, wow, that's nice. Oh, cute cat, cute dog, right? Going on, talking about their plans. And then we talk about, price. And if commission's going to come up, we talk about that and, listing terms and how much they want to net. And we just go from there.
Excellent.
But definitely, if it's your first time, definitely bring someone on your team. If you don't have a team, someone that's experienced in your office, it's definitely good to do that. You don't want to butcher your first or second time.
No, and like you said, you have to have some sort of mentor or guide. And if you don't have that in the office, they don't provide it for you, ask them. And if they don't, then you got to find somewhere else to work, as far as I'm concerned, especially,
Exactly.
New agent, you want to be in an environment with people that will collaborate and that will help and mentor and guide you.
Exactly. You need it.
Absolutely. Because all that time would be wasted. All that time and effort
Right.
on the phone would be thrown away.
Exactly. You just need that support with you. You don't really, you can practice and rehearse, but when you're there in person, you might slip up, so just have them with you.
Absolutely. So let me talk numbers a little bit. So you said you've got 2 listings now.
Yep.
Amazing. Congratulations. So,
Thank you.
do you know the numbers of how many contacts you made, how many days you were dialing? You know,
Yep.
give me some of that.
I dial at least, I am part-time, right? And I have rental property myself. I can't put all the time in the world that I would like, but 3 days a week is my minimum, right? I do a Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday schedule. If I have enough time, like Saturdays are tight for me, like the weekends, because those are my showing days, right? Stuff like that to run around with people.
Right.
But I try to at least block those 3 days, at least, right? 3 days a week, right? I get off at 4 o'clock. I go home, I quickly get showered, get changed, head to the office. I'm there sitting down at the office table at 5 p.m. with the dialer open. I have all my stuff imported and ready to dial. My goal is 10 good conversations with people with for sale by owners. And I had a solid conversation. And I try to at least hit one appointment, like bare minimum. Like I'm every time I sit down, I want one appointment. But if I can hit 10 great conversations, I'm happy. And I just want to hit at least one appointment per time I sit down, right?
Do
And
you have a
roughly,
follow-up system at this point for those that you don't book an appointment with? Are you following up with them in some way?
I'll be honest with you. What I have is literally pieces of paper sitting next to me that I like, and I have them in my phone. I have their email. But the thing is, I need to really utilize KV Core, and
Yes.
I know you definitely use it way more than me, and I need to utilize it. You know, I need
Yeah,
to
no
have that
matter the
automated
power of
system.
the
Yeah,
power of the CRM, any CRM, but in particular, with EXP, you've got KV Core, the website and CRM, so why not use it?
right.
You've got to put them in an automated drip and manually follow up with them as well. Have something planned out. Take a day and just figure out, what would be kind of like a weekly, or depending on how hot they are, maybe a couple times a week way to follow up with these people to give
Yep.
value.
Okay. Right. You could do set up what's called like one of those drip campaigns, right? That's what that's called.
Exactly.
Take some
Exactly.
time, sit down, set that up.
100%, 100%. Show them that you have value. You're not just there for yourself. You're there to help them. And
Yep.
when they see that they're having problems selling their house, and you're the only one who's depositing value for them, in a selfless way, then
Yep.
you're the one that they're likely going to call.
Of course.
Or when
Of
you
course.
follow up to call, they'll be like, "Hey, have you been getting my stuff? Have you found it helpful? Is there anything else?" Then that's another reason to reach out to them.
Exactly, exactly. And the one thing I was thinking about doing, which sounds a little aggressive, is I know this guy, and this is a thought I'm actually thinking about doing tomorrow, is he's having an open house. He told me to, he's having an open house and he's doing everything agents would. Why don't I just stop by? Could I do that? I mean, would that be weird?
No, 100%. And you know what? I know some people that use a strategy of, listen, if people that are dead set on just selling it themselves, why
Yep.
don't you say, well, why don't I hold an open house for you? Now, it depends on, rules and regulations and how things are, if you're allowed to or not in your
Right.
particular area. But if you are, why don't I hold an open house for you or with you? And we can then go ahead and help you sort of pre-qualify the buyers that are coming through.
Yep. Exactly.
And that way you're not charging him anything. Maybe you'll help to find a buyer and to help filter out those sort of tire
Exactly.
kickers.
I was even thinking, like, why don't we offer, like, as I don't know if you know this idea or not, but we can offer him like a 1-800 number or a for sale sign or something we can whip up for him. It might cost a couple of dollars, but if you have the money to do it, you know, we could say we can give you a 1-800 number and a for sale sign, and then, and we can do this for free for you if you don't have that already. They probably do, or we can offer them other stuff, and they say, well, why would you do that? And we can say, well, the buyers that don't end up buying your home, we could represent them, right? And maybe you can see the value in me, something like that. I don't know. I'm just getting creative.
I absolutely encourage that. I would say stay more in information-based value, rather
Right.
than delivering something like that, because that can be a bit tricky. If you're doing a 1-800 number for them, like, are the leads going to come through you and then you're going to deliver it to them? Like, how's that going to work? So
Right. Exactly.
I'd be a little bit careful about that. But by delivering value in terms of like the things that you were talking about, the buyer financial information thing, you can do a seller's net sheet, you can do a whole bunch of different things.
Yep.
Give them market updates. proper market updates to show other houses that are selling, that have been selling
Yep.
while they've been sitting. So there's a many different ways to go with follow up on this.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super happy that reached out, got the triple line dialer. I really am. I mean, it's
I'm glad
great.
it's working out for you. You're killing it. I love it. So how much time are you spending at 5 o'clock? How long are you making calls for Monday?
2 hours, 5 to 7. Yep.
Making the calls. How many people do you figure you're dialing in that time?
300 is like kind of like the dial amount. So I'm hitting like 300 phone call. I'm dialing 300. Not all 300 answer, but if 10 contacts, one appointment. That's kind of like what I'm doing right now.
That's the goal,
And
and
that's
it's
kind of,
working.
yeah, it's a start. It's 6 hours a week. But it's working. You just
You
have to
build
stay consistent.
momentum. You build
Yep.
momentum. But the key is, make sure that you're following up with everybody else,
That's
because
the hard part. You get so stuck into dialing and dialing, that's
you want the immediate gratification of there's
right.
the appointment, there's the deal, but you've got 9 other people sitting there that are potential deals. So
Right.
stay in touch with those people, put them in the system, make that work for you.
Exactly. That's going to be what I need to focus on pretty much as soon as we get off the Zoom. It's like KV course. Just do it. Just set it up.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. Listen, Tyler, I really appreciate, number one, I appreciate you watching the stuff, you reaching out to me. Well, we've had a good conversation. I'm so happy that when we followed up with each other, you're doing so well. So just keep doing
Exactly.
your thing, man. It builds
Thank you.
momentum.
You just have to feel that energy. Once you actually start getting that, once that first listing appointment is, and you get it, or even if you don't get it, that's fine. You just built momentum already. Just got to keep that positive energy going and just going and going. And then that's what you feed off of, right?
Action.
Exactly. And once, like, remember you said, you texted me, okay, when we jumped off that first phone call, you said, let me know how you do in 90 days. I told you in like 9 days. I was like, I'm already seeing something, right? So
Yeah, which was amazing, which is why I needed
yeah,
to get you on the show to share your message with everybody, because people are afraid. They're not sure of, the results that they're going to get, what they're going to do. And
yep,
you're proof that it works. It works if we
exactly.
just take the action and do it.
It's action, consistency, and it's a numbers game. People will curse you out. People will be rude to you. They'll be very angry. We don't know what's going on in these people's lives. We just got to be positive. We're offering a service. We're offering help. That's all we do. So
Exactly. And speaking of that, anytime you want to bounce ideas off me, reach out to me. You've got my number. You call me anytime. And same with everybody out there. You know my info, 416-890-5775. Hit me up with a text. Just remember to tell me who you are. You, Tyler. Thankfully said, hi, my
yep.
name is Tyler. Some people just send me a message and it's like, who am I talking to?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your story with
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks for being on the show. And we'll stay in touch. I look forward to seeing your success.
Awesome. Let's keep growing. Me and you both.